morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you, as always, by BB. There is no second best live YouTube stream to talk about markets. I am stoked to be back with you guys. A lot has happened, obviously, since I went on vacation. Bitcoin all-time highs, BNB price discovery. We even got some new coins launching and thriving to speculate on here in the last few weeks. We're going to talk about it on today's show. But welcome back. Well, what am I saying? I'm happy to be back. Welcome back since last week to Louis and Max. I'm Tommy. You guys also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined by Max and Louis, as you guys know. And as you guys have probably already seen before, I'm a little rusty when I come back from being off for a few weeks. But like I said, there's been no shortage of things that have occurred really since I've been gone. But before we can start talking about them, before we can start cooking, sharing charts and everything, I'm going to need you guys to hit the like button. I don't know how the like button was performing while I was gone.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. Well, that's just so disappointing, man. That's so disappointing. Let's hit the like button. It's Q4, guys. It's Q4. If you can't hit the like button when the market's ripping at the start of Q4, then when can you hit the like button, right? How much higher does the market need to go before you start ripping your capital into the like button? But like I said, Bitcoin pumping to new all-time highs. Sol and ETH have been showing a little bit more strength here over the last few days, but really it's been a BNB market recently, right? Many of their adjacent coins pumping. BNB outperformance against ETH, especially against Sol, and we even have some new coins generating excitement for the chain, such as Aster. Are there any gems that we can potentially find on this chain? Something that we will talk about. As far as when we see that dispersion take place across altcoins, because we've seen some movement in altcoins. I will say it's been kind of similar to what we've seen in the past when altcoins start moving, where it's isolated to a very small number of coins. But are we about to see that dispersion now that it's Q4? Because throughout this cycle, we have seen that take place multiple times, right? You saw very much Bitcoin dominated or ETH dominated, whatever, or Sol dominated, periods for the market. Where you haven't quite seen the entire market really benefit from that rising tide. But then in Q4, we often see very different behaviors. And I see a lot of floored altcoin charts out there right now, which, we should definitely discuss on this show. I'm sure the guys have been talking about it while I've been gone. Should probably mention Bitcoin and maybe even BNB dominance at some point on this show. But equities seem to be pretty much par for the course, right? An AMD deal with OpenAI, mostly business as usual. Outside, well, I guess gold ripping too is also business as usual. We also saw the Nikkei chatting higher last night. I think that's based on some political news, but it's pretty rare that we see the Japanese index up almost 5% in a single day. Did I miss anything? I guess we'll see on the show, but I think that's now 4 for 4 on my last vacations for the market pumping. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I have like 100% hit rate of when I go on vacation, the market ends up pumping either on my vacation or like immediately after. But how are you guys doing? Happy Q4. I'm excited for the next few months. I think October is going to provide a lot of opportunity, and let's talk about it.
Well, Tommy, welcome home, man. Great to have you back. I was trying to do the intros in your absence, but it's like second string quarterback, like you're probably going to lose the game. You might do all right, but not great. I can't confirm the hit rate, of you traveling and the market pumping, but if that is the case, then we're going to raise some money and we're going to just send you off, and you're not allowed to come back until we're ready to short. So, choose your words carefully, because I'm not kidding. Like, if you actually cause this market to go up, one-way ticket to wherever, and you're gone, man. You're gone, because we need these coins to pump, man. But things do look really interesting this morning. Like, everything that I look for in terms of like strength, in terms of bullishness, screaming green right? I mean, man, look at like Riot. I mean, Riot's up 13.5%. Like TradFi crypto beta is ripping. You know, just kind of going down the watch list, like IWM price discovery once again, you know, just pushing higher. So it really seems like the setup that we've been watching closely over the past, you know, I mean, couple months is really just starting to play out right now. We are seeing a lot of buy volume hit the tape on basically all things beta. So that's really great. I think it's just a matter of time before shitcoins catch a major rotation, man. I mean, things like Doge are starting to look really perky. And I'm hoping that this is kind of your final, you know, the end of your final reaccumulation, you know. And when I look at Doge's structure here, we've talked about this idea of, you know, your fourth tap into resistance. You know, what typically happens on the fourth tap at resistance? I think, Tommy, maybe you made the rule a long time ago. Typically, that fourth tap on resistance or support is the one that finally snaps the Cheeto. So looking at something like Doge, I think it's just a matter of time before we visit, you know, above 30 cents and then probably snap that Cheeto as it deserves to be snapped. So I think it's time to just be long and strong and enjoy this. I mean, it really looks like ETH wants to just meet stick to new all-time highs, like maybe even on this show. Sometimes ETH does that, you know, like sometimes ETH just puts in one of those classic Ethereum candles, and that's all she wrote, you know, like there's really not anything stopping us from moving higher at this point. I mean, looking at the ETH volume profile here, you are well above your range point of control. You are now pushing your value area high. Bitcoin is basically in price discovery, you know, after a little micro sell off on Sunday. And I don't know what's bearish right now. I mean, I don't see anything that's even remotely bearish here. So we're just slicing levels, man. Just slicing levels. And we talked about this. Well, Tommy was gone. We were talking about being one with the scam, you know, like this whole cycle, it has paid to basically ask yourself the question, what is the biggest scam they could run on me right now? And then just play that, right? And I think now we are more or less confirmed to be in a regime where maybe the greatest scam all along was convincing you that you had to get scammed before a pump. Maybe that was the art of the 2 years of pain, was conditioning you to be one with the scam only for the pump to finally be here without a scam and leave you sidelined and paranoid. That's my hope, man. That's my hope. So I don't really see much opportunity for lower, certainly not right now. I mean, if we swing fail this breakout this morning, and we can talk about it, but things are kind of charging higher. I mean, TradFi beta ripping, US small caps as a basket ripping, major indexes looking really strong, Bitcoin miners perking up. I bought some BMNR yesterday Friday afternoon, right before the New York closed. I told our Discord about it. It's already up 8%. Just like the things that you're wanting to see to be just out of control bullish appear to be playing out very quickly, right? And you're not getting a lot of great opportunities to shove pullbacks. And it seems like we're now shifting into a trending environment opposed to a chop range environment. You know, we've been ranging since beginning of August on something like ETH, a lot of altcoins, even more. You know, some of them have been ranging for a year, and it feels like they're getting close to the end of their reaccumulations. So I don't know. Maybe this is maybe the scam is still on the table, but I'm not really seeing a great setup for a scam here. It just feels like we want to charge higher. So
Well, it's like I said, I mean, it's a Binance-led market right now. As long as BNB token is going up, Binance is going to be in control. I see SoSafly asking me to speak about derivatives. I really haven't checked in on them since I've been back, but I can tell you that a lot of the buying pressure has come from Binance futures. So you want to know what's going to take us higher right now. That bid is largely coming from Binance and to a broader degree, I think Asian markets, right? When we look at the Nikkei up almost 5%, it's pretty often an indicative of a risk on bid. And we have seen a very strong risk on bid since the beginning of October.
Well, when Binance is on the buttons, it's typically a good thing, man. The kings of crime, you know? And BNB looks great. Looks really, really great. What else is there to say, man? I mean, it's time to send, you know?
Welcome back, Tommy. First of all, nice to have you back.
Congratulations, Jackus.
Yeah, lots of things have happened.
I know. It's been a crazy last 2 weeks, I guess, for everybody, especially you, though. I mean, vacation is much smaller in the grand scheme of things than obviously what you're going through right now.
And Tommy, we don't call him Jackus anymore. We only call him Daddy. Just that's a new thing we're doing here. So
yeah. Actually, this is a daddy stream, except you, Tommy.
That is true.
Maybe that is something that could come.
Nothing planned at the moment. Nothing planned at the moment.
All right. Well, Max, you said that you don't see anything bearish about the chart, and I would add only to that I don't see anything bearish about the chart for a long time. Like you don't see anything bearish, you know, and like cycle top that some of these people kept calling for, like how long is it, like year and a half, maybe 2 years. They kept trying to convince me that the cycle top is in. It still is not in, but looking at ETH and where it is still, right, and considering that we are likely to break out, I don't think there's going to be anything bearish about the chart for like few quarters. So
do you even think we'll ever see a red candle again, Jackus? Like ever?
Disabled.
Yeah, I don't even think red candles can exist in this new paradigm, man. Like pullbacks don't exist in this new regime, you know?
Well, obviously it's depending on what time frame we are talking about, of course, right?
Oh, any of them. Yeah, even the 1 second, it just doesn't exist, you know?
The pullbacks are mathematically impossible in this new regime.
Yeah, now you get it. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't exist. Meat Stick, you're awfully quiet for a guy named Meat Stick.
I overcooked on Friday, I think, Max. So.
Oh, you burnt it. You overcooked.
If the like button isn't good.
Well, you know the like button's. It's always bad. You know that. I mean, don't be silly. You know you're left with nothing every time.
I'm sick of being taken advantage of, Max. Feel used and abused.
I know that feeling, truly.
You're right. Yeah. No love. No appreciation.
Nah, it's all good. I was up late last night. Had to check in on the charts before the weekly start. Had a nice weekend. Brought my son to his first Jets game. He learned what misery looks and feels like.
Start him young.
Yeah, started him really young. He's gonna learn. Then got into the charts, loving what I'm seeing across the board. Really, really beautiful stuff here. Continued strength out of Bitcoin. Love to see it. I mean, I could imagine how many times people have tried to short Bitcoin over the last 10 days and just have gotten absolutely blown out. And that's kind of what we expected to see. That drop we saw end of September, in my opinion, was kind of that pivot point, right? Where it was a scary drop, like Jackus had mentioned, that pre-bull market shakeout, which is by design to shake you out, crush your morality, question your investment before the real rally ensues, right? So we got, Bitcoin printing the highest weekly close ever, yesterday. We got ETH catching up, and we got alts looking ready. Like they're going to be playing a big game to catch up here. Really loving what I'm seeing across the board. Equities as well. I mean, you mentioned Riot. We've been in Riot for a couple weeks now. That is absolutely printing. Bitcoin miners leading the way, right? Loving to see it. Everything's kind of coming together here. And we got the Russell pretty much making fresh all-time highs today and finally entering that price discovery environments, which is the leading risk-on indicator for crypto, bar none. So, yeah, just sitting back, relaxed, moisturized, and enjoying the gains.
You mentioned the highest weekly close of all time, and I don't think enough people truly are appreciating this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just wild, man. Like, it looks like a complete breakaway. And I saw some people, speculating this just doesn't make, of course, like, what if we just triple topped on, a Sunday, we pumped over the weekend. What if we triple topped, right?
Triple tops aren't a thing, by the way, for you guys listening. Triple tops are not a thing.
What if we held hands and kissed under the Bitcoin triple top?
Yeah, that's what they're good for. That's about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is your weekly level. This is your weekly level, and it just doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't look at all bearish, like you're just ripping through levels, man, just slicing through them. And once in a while you get an environment like this where you just have like, one big breakaway, and then two big breakaway, and then, 3 big breakaway, and you just kind of go, right? So when you get a weekly candle like this, yeah, I can understand like wanting to be cautious at certain levels, but when you get like such a prominent weekly candle, let's look at a few of these rallies. I mean, this one even happened in, this one happened in Q4 as well. Yeah, that's real. Like look at when you start these weekly trends, you typically get a lot more than just like one weekly candle. You'll typically get like 3, 4, 5. I mean, look over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green weeks in a row, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then little one, 5, 6, including the one that was a break, right? So when I look at the chart here, I say, all right, like weekly breakout should be in for another few weeks, I would think. Would be pretty atypical to see, weekly candle like that just turn around. I mean, look at over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you slow down a bit, right? How about over here in October of 2020? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Little break, and then more, right? So it's like when you get those really strong weekly candle breakouts, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to just try to fade something like this, man. I mean, that was a really prominent weekly candle. That was not a small feat at all. So hopefully we see at least a few more weeks of just immediate continuation. We'll see some little maybe 1-hour pullbacks and things like that in the meantime, but just looking at what typically happens when you see those really strong weekly closes, you typically get some continuation. And if we just look at something like RSI, right? I mean, we're not even oversold on the weekly at all, like we're not even close to like way overheated, like these previous weekly rallies after you got like 3, 4 weeks, they typically are met with just simple RSI, being well above 70, even 80, right? mean, we're still seeing weekly at 65. So, you know, it's always, it's possible. You know, I see a lot of people right now commenting on, you know, something like this, right? And saying, oh yeah, you know, look at the divergence train, you know, but it's really simple. In order to invalidate, you know, these weekly bearish divergences, all you got to do is just get back above here, you know, like you see RSI above 70, and this whole train of weekly divergences is cooked, and you're actually a lot earlier than many would, you know, even consider suggesting, you know. So
yeah, that's the thing with these bearish divergences on the high time frame during a bull market. A lot of people get messed up with this. I saw a lot of this last cycle as well, 2021, where people like the entire way up were looking for bearish divergences on RSI and stuff like that, and they could easily get smashed, you know. In my opinion, depending on the context, right? Because context is always key, right? But when you have, and we've talked about this, Max, we talked about when price remains stagnant or holding key levels while these oscillators reset, it's not a bearish divergence. It's more of a pause and a reset, you know? So like when you see price not trending lower, but you see like these oscillators trending lower or printing these quote unquote bearish divergences, a lot of the times what's happening is the bid is still strong enough to maintain price. Momentum slows, that resets the oscillator, and all that does is put gas back in the tank for another leg higher, you know. And people get caught up on these, oh, bearish divergence, we got to go down. It's like, sometimes, yeah, right, sometimes they will play, but a lot of the times in bullish environments, these bearish divergences end up just getting smashed and invalidated. And especially when you see price trading sideways or maintaining level or even bull shopping or vertical accumulation, and you see these oscillators resetting, that just means that price could have pulled back. You could have seen a sizable pullback. The bid was strong enough to maintain price. Now your oscillators are reset, and now you have a clear runway for a lot more upside. So if anything, it's bullish. So a lot of people get messed up trying to find these bearish divergences when they should just be trading the trend.
I usually don't trade with divergences just because in crypto, they're often very deceiving. Not to say that they can't play out, but divergences in crypto, I mean, if we look at historical Bitcoin trends, like every Bitcoin bull market has been marked by high time frame divergences continuing for a very long time before you actually see them play out. You know, you look at 2021, for example, and I know I don't like comparing the market to 2021, but I think this is a good example. Like when Bitcoin broke out above, you know, 10K, I think for the first time, and somebody maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like momentum was mostly trending down for a majority of this uptrend. Bitcoin ended up doing another, I think, 1 to 2 multiples after the RSI was already in a decline. So, you know, it's I don't really think you can use divergences. I mean, you can selectively, but I think you have to be really careful broad brushing crypto, specifically a momentum driven asset class, with RSI divergences, because, you know, they can very easily be outnumbered, overruled, whatever word you want to use. What I think is interesting though is the Bitcoin monthly RSI, right? Because that's at an inflection point. We're trying to break through overbought territory, which is, you know, that word is inherently also a meme, just like oversold. If you're seeing the Bitcoin monthly RSI begin to really start to break out here, then we're about to ascend a lot harder than probably people expect over the next, I would say, 3 to 6 months, maybe longer than that, right? And if we fail this breakout, then, you know, then those divergences that we talked about on some of these lower time frames, like the daily, 12-hour, weekly, whatever time frame, will probably look more accurate. But to me, I mean, I remember talking about the Bitcoin monthly RSI with you guys back at like 50 or 60K. like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Oh, here's the monthly. Seems like typically, and maybe this will play. Maybe this is a monthly trend we should keep an eye out for. Let me redraw it like a little thicker. All right, maybe we could look out for something like this. All right. Maybe.
I'd almost be concerned if we're breaking out above that red box someday.
I would be selling hard everything. If I see Bitcoin monthly RSI at like 90, bro, I'm out.
I'd be concerned about what that would mean for like the state of everything. We'd be pumping really hard, but like
we'd be pumping so hard.
I can't pump.
You mean Solana?
Oh,
sorry. I had to take a shot at Solana.
Oh,
you know how refreshing it was today, guys, when I opened up the BB terminal and I'm sorting by volume DEX coins, and I barely saw any Solana coins up there. It was like a breath of fresh air.
Nature is healing.
Sol does look good here, though, I will say. I mean, it kind of looks like BNB pre-breakout, honestly. I don't think I could be bearish Sol USD, but I can definitely be bearish like Sol pairs, right? Like even this is an old spread chart that we used to look at quite a bit. The CZ SAM index.
Ooh, it's fried.
Tommy, I think you maybe came up with that name. But when I look at this CZ SAM index, I say, oof, this is Sol BNB, man. This thing wants to go range low, you know? Range low, you know, back down into mega demand, you know?
Look, the context is that crime is legal, and you're not going to crime better than CZ. That's
you will
just
not.
reality.
No, you will. You simply will not. You think you will. You will not. There's an art to it. You know, it has to be done tastefully.
I could see Sol ETH still rallying a little bit higher from here into like 0.06, but it's going to, I still think it's going to be a while before we see Sol ETH actually trend, which is healthy for the market, as we said a lot, right?
Yes.
I mean, this chart looks destroyed, man. Like this is the worst looking pair chart in crypto, man. Without question, this thing looks like it wants to just cascade, right? It just
well Sol USD is still like decent amount under all-time highs, while BNB is priced in price discovery, and that, you know, again, as we said multiple times here, Sol looks bullish, but its time when it will shine on its own might come later than lots of Sol degens think so. And I think it comes later in the cycle.
This is the Sol ETH chart with the best comment of all time above it. I could see one more stab higher here, potentially on Sol ETH, but I do think this will go range low.
We have
So
to
be clear again. Like I'm not bearish Sol USD at all. I'm just like, I think the opportunity for this next part of the cycle should be elsewhere, given how a lot of the pairs look. BNB aside, right? Like great for BNB. You know, just we've been talking about Sol ETH for a long time. Sol BTC, I'm a little torn on. Like, kind of looks like it broke out of this range, but I don't know if I fully trust it. But time will tell, right? Like time will tell. I'm kind of neutral on this chart. Like Sol BTC, I don't have a firm opinion on this because I could see this being a range breakout, but I could also see this being one disgusting deviation and then nuking back down into the range. So
do you guys hold any BNB?
I hold some derivatives of BNB.
Tommy only likes dog coins. Okay.
No, he only likes cat coins.
No, I like
No,
some
he
dog.
likes dog coins.
I'm not going to say the ticker on here, but I've seen a few of you mention it in the comments.
Of course.
This
I
is
know.
BNB ETH. I think you could maybe see ETH at least keep pace with BNB. I think this to me looks like it still is just range bound, right? But I look at this and I say, all right, you know, it's a big region, right? But you certainly have some supply overhead. You've accepted back into the range. Log mode, you tag the mid range perfectly. So maybe this is just a scenario in which, you know, you see something like this on BNB ETH, and then you see ETH, you know, actually start to outperform BNB. I don't know. For me, it's like it's not really breaking out or anything. It's just still, it's been range bound since 2021. But I think eventually this cycle, you'll probably see it back down here, you know.
This is my first thought too when I opened up this chart, that it looks like a range, and I do think it could range for a bit more.
I just don't know if I'm ready to suggest that like this chart would break out, just because it seems like there's, let me see, monthly.
I think for me, like I'm torn on whether or not BNB is going to trade like an altcoin going forward, or whether it's going to trade like a stock index, you know, where it doesn't mark up like 2 to 3x over a 2 or 3 week period, but just kind of grinds up more or less forever.
Well, the market is still probably anticipating Binance to launch fully in the US again, and CZ to have some connections to Trump, perhaps. And perhaps it is right now, you know, front running that narrative, pricing that in, and hence why you see BNB pumping. I discussed this a few times before, but we'll see if it comes to that or not. In either case, BNB is 4 digits, right? And it wasn't so long ago when people said it's going to 0 and that it's gonna repeat FTT 2.0, but here we are.
I mean, I'm personally viewing BNB as just a precursor for the rest of the market. It's just foreshadowing what the entire asset class is about to do. I mean, total 3, total 2, ETH, everything. You know, like ETH and BNB are similar in the sense that they both had, you know, giant ranges, you know, from here. BNB obviously didn't retrace as much as something like ETH did. But I think we can all see that, you know, there's some parallels in the sense that they were both in like 4-year accumulations, right? And you can see what happens when, and here, let me even just go exactly Schmiko range high to range low, right? So obviously ETH in November of 2021 stabbed higher, Bitcoin, BNB did not, but you can see pretty clearly what happens when you start to really break away, right? So I think that it's just a matter of time before ETH does something similar to what BNB is doing. And then we'll have to see, you know, how the pair responds, right? Because maybe it'll just be a back and forth. Maybe it is range bound. So right now BNB is outperforming. Then maybe BNB, you know, grinds higher, cools off, and ETH catches up, and then this pair breaks down. And then again, you know, then BNB can put in another big bounce, and then maybe ETH cools off. I don't know. Right? I don't know. This has been a very fractured cycle so far where not everything is pumped at the same time, but it very much so could, right? Like just because it hasn't happened so far doesn't mean that it won't ever. But I do believe that BNB is very much so acting as a precursor for something like, you know, let's look at total 3 now, right? Here's total 3 down below. I think BNB is absolutely telling us what's about to happen to everything in crypto. I think it's just maybe a few weeks ahead. What do you guys think?
That's how it was in 2021. It wasn't ETH that really caused the altcoin bull run. It was BNB. If you look at the timing, I want to say BNB broke into aggressive price discovery either in December or January, the transition of 2021 to 2020 or to 2020 or from 2020 to 2021. And when you saw that Binance coin expansion, that's when we really started to see dispersion in the altcoin market. And that's how it was in 2023 and 2024 as well. I mean, look how much Binance marked up on a relative basis a few years ago. And then look at a lot of these VC alts, look at meme coins. I mean, BNB began its parabolic run in 2024, parabolic being relative to kind of like today's terms. It went up 100%. And it was in February. And I think I can remember a few things that kind of happened around that time as far as large cap memes go. So, you know, if we're talking about froth and dispersion, it is really Binance or BNB dependent, because who is going to be pumping a lot of these altcoins? It's going to be the people who have a lot of the supply.
So if we look at very specifically here, like if we zoom in on last cycle, you are right, Tommy. Like BNB started sending before ETH did. So this is BNB in the middle. This is the BNB ETH pair. You can see that BNB started just sending before ETH did, right? Last cycle. And this is in log mode. And then once BNB started to, you know, range and cool off, like right here, BNB ranges and cools off. Look at what ETH did during that time, right? So very interesting to imagine something similar happening this time around, where maybe we just don't see anything really break out until BNB even just pauses for a little bit, right? And then you'll probably see, you know, ETH put in a ramp, or other altcoins, right? It doesn't have to be just ETH based, right? But you can see pretty clearly that last cycle, as soon as BNB started chopping, ETH ramped, you know, 2.5x. So
yeah, I think something like this kind of plays out. And again, that's the first for the trees outlook. You know, it's really not the cycle top is here type of charts.
Well,
So
I'm very
crazy.
eager to see ETH in price discovery, because typically that ignites meme coin rallies, right? And that's how we really know what kind of froth we're going to be looking at. Yeah, I mean, ETH it's just so close, man. It's so close of breaking out of a 4-year range. I think it's inevitable, right? But it's that kind of like the final waiting period can be a little bit can be a little draining. It's like, let's just do it already. Rip it off, you know. Send it.
Do
Come
you
on,
hear
Tom.
that,
Get on the
Mr.
bid.
Anderson? That is the sound of inevitability.
Yes, it is.
Jeez, man, I'm just scrolling through some of these altcoin charts I haven't looked at in a minute. It's crazy that the godfather of BNB has a dog.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely wild. No, but on a more serious note, I mean, it does feel like we are seeing actively a shift as far as what's leading the market. You know, what has been the market leaders for pretty much, or, you know, we saw a hint of it over the summer where ETH took the baton from Sol. But at the same time, you had this very pronounced strength from something like Hyperliquid. And now you're seeing BNB kind of take the baton while Hyperliquid largely lags. Although I will say, I think it's a positive for the market if Hyperliquid does go back into price discovery sooner than later. And I think the same is true for Solana. You still want these coins to go up, but they're clearly not what's driving the market higher right now. It's BNB. So is that going to translate into more opportunities on chain for Binance Smart Chain? I guess we'll have to see. A lot of their coins still trade it's funny. They don't trade like they did a few years ago when we had that whole wave of coins on BSC. I haven't looked at the cake chart, but I'm sure that it looks interesting. A lot of them still kind of trade like the cornered spot crime that we've seen from Binance coins in the past. And MYX is a great example of that. But yeah, I think it's going to pay to be looking deeper into these opportunities, we'll call them, that are through Binance rather than something like through Solana for the foreseeable future. I mean, the pair charts are communicating this. And like I said, go on the BB terminal, look at what coins are doing the most volume on dexes right now. And they are majority BSC chain or BSC right now. They're not Solana. They're not ETH. They're not anything but BSC. So, I mean, that's going to be what's going to drive the market higher. You should want to see Binance continue ripping in price discovery if you're looking for altcoin dispersion. Well, maybe after Binance stops ripping, we finally see it. But the market's going to run through Binance at this point. Like that's the whole point of why I started yapping.
Tommy, would you do me a favor and pull up terminal and show me the volume sort that you're looking at?
Yes. Why isn't it working? Hold on.
Man, Pepe is just like the king of the teas, man. I just can't believe they've been able to pin it this long. I look at this thing. Dude, it's been ranging since March of last year. Are you kidding me? Let the thing go already.
The bear
Let it
market
go.
of alts has been a range since March 24.
And if we ignore the Trump pump, like we've done as an exercise before, I mean, holy crap. Insane. Absolutely insane. Isn't that crazy?
Doing so much volume. Just briefly, I mean, when you kind of filter by like the coins that are doing 10 million volume per day, you look at what dexes they're being traded on. Even some of these just like obscure derivatives of Bitcoin or ETH. I mean, if I say obscure, wrapped ETH's not obscure. Coinbase Bitcoin's probably not obscure, but you get what I'm saying. The volume they're doing on Pancake Swap, you just go down the list. There's been so much more activity on BSC over the last 2 weeks, clearly, than there has been on ETH. Although most of the, I think, ETH volume, or when I say, hold on, there's been way more volume than there has been on Sol. But Base is kind of taking some of that, or really all of that DEX volume from ETH. But you're seeing a lot more usage out of Pancake Swap, which to me highlights that we're seeing. I mean, look, just top 40, top 50, just absolutely riddled with Pancake Swap tickers. And if you look at this even 3 or 4 weeks ago, they're going to be all Solana. They're going to be all Solana. And right now it's pretty much handful of base tickers, but really just Pancake Swap pairs all over the top 50.
Mm-hmm.
And this is and if I sorted even like more granular than this, if I went to like 5 million, I bet we get even more BSC tickers. Didn't Wabi talk about this, Hydrex?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm so pissed about that one. I brought them on a space like 3 weeks ago, knew about it, had full intentions of investing in it, just got caught up, completely forgot about it. I even helped them partner with the base Billy team. Like you could stake your Billy on Hydrex and earn yield on it. I just knew that it was just, I could just tell they were up and coming. They had a lot of good connections. It seemed like they were doing all the right things. Completely missed it. Solid 300, 400% rally over the last like week. Yeah, that one's been looking really good. That's a nice base runner recently. Pretty much the up and coming base liquidity hub right now. But yeah, I've also been noticing, a lot of Binance chain tokens popping off, like popping up on the watch list. A lot of them with just Asian ticker names that I don't know what they are. But yeah, I've been noticing it too. And obviously I think it's a result of the BNB price action, right? The more the BNB goes up, the more fruitful that ecosystem becomes. And ultimately, I think the more fruitful the crypto asset class comes, that's what we've seen in the past, right? So I guess it'll start with BSC on chain and then work its way throughout the rest of the market. But yeah, I've been noticing it as well. I may have a potential ticker, Binance ticker that I'll share with you guys after the stream. It might be a cooker. So
I like that.
Talk about it in public right now. So.
By the way, guys, we had a acceptance of ETH spot staking ETF. Did you guys notice?
I saw that this morning. That's huge.
Grayscale?
Because there's nothing that boomers love more than a little bit of yield. Nothing gets the boomer out of bed quicker than a little like 3 to 5% APY, man. They love it.
Should be bullish Lido Finance, probably.
Oh God. You're gonna put me back in the ring with Jump. If we're running the can't pump meme, it's gotta be LDO, man. But I actually agree with you, Jackus. I think it should be bullish for Lido DAO. It's just such a weird looking chart.
It's actually not. It's just
I guess if you sort out some of the wicks, it looks fairly clean, but if you're trading perps on it, there's no coin you're gonna hate more than Lido.
yeah, you have to treat it as a higher time frame chart, of course. But yeah, there is it's probably the best beta or like best bet on a staking ETH Lido. Maybe RPL perhaps as a decentralized version, sort of. But
is that what I think it is? That ticker sounds familiar. Liquid staking. I bet Pendle's having a good day.
I remember when I started positioning an LDO, got fully positioned. Bang! SEC lawsuit.
I remember that.
Finally, fully positioned in my long.
I think it was the same day.
Drop the lawsuit.
Yeah.
He bought?
He's fully positioned.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
No, I think I was I was in Florida and I was listening to your morning call. And then I look at the Twitter or on Twitter that they were suing LDO, and I was like, Jesus, that's just horrible timing. Yeah. It'd be like that though sometimes.
That's how it be. That's how it be.
Tether dominance looks pretty slippery here, boys.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It's trying, but it's slipping.
It's trying. I mean, it looks like there's really not much. There's not much left holding it up before range low here. If we were to flip this chart, I think if they are going to scam you this week, you know, it'll be like this, and then we go. I'm not really seeing above this region personally.
Yeah, it looks overall really bad, which is good.
Which is very good. This is one chart we want to be super bearish on. Looks pretty fried. You know, when you start to see these higher time frame trend lines, you know, really give out like this.
How much does this trade in line with the DXY? I don't usually use USDT dominance.
I never compare them, but USDTD is like, Tommy, the best, like literally the best signal for crypto.
Yeah, they're not exactly correlated, I guess. The reason I ask that is just because it's a pretty interesting move in USD JPY today, ripping up. Maybe wonder if we're going to see the dollar potentially bounce here, even though thematically the dollar is extremely bearish. You know, if we're talking about meme coins potentially making a huge move in Q4, that's kind of like, to me, always one of the most indicative things of the dollar just being a meme. Especially if Doge went to like $1. That's like, there's no better way of mimetically saying the dollar is worthless than having one Dogecoin be worth $1. But I was looking at USD JPY earlier today, and I was like, maybe we are about to see a little rally from the dollar here in the next few weeks. Now, I don't think that necessarily means like the market has to go up or down. It's just what I could see happening with the dollar. Because USD JPY going up has been liquidity positive for the last few years, as long as the dollar isn't like sending, you know.
Yeah. I just look at this chart, man. I'm like, I think this thing is just getting ready to go. Like, you did your little trap right here. Looks not so good. Should be getting ready.
Bouncing ball.
Well, we'll see. This is the only line I really care about.
What a recovery out of ETH, man. Love to see it.
Sick. Honestly, it's so nice.
So symmetrical. The way up was like literally almost the same as the way down. Little Empire State Building pattern. Upside down, obviously.
I mean, this is interesting.
I don't like the fact that it just got listed on Binance Spot.
I agree.
Astro.
But it's a Binance crime coin.
I know, that's why it's so confusing.
Yeah. I'm torn on that as well. I've been coping from the sidelines, so I don't think I have the best take on it. So
They launched it right as I went on vacation, so
I mean, it could do well. I don't see why not. I mean, I think maybe it's a little overhyped, but who knows, you know. I think, Tommy, you and I were talking about this. Like, I think there's a lot of people right now that are just trying to, like, you know, relive the Hyperliquid, the early Hyperliquid days with it. It doesn't mean that it won't work.
Oh, Tommy, did you get a Hyper NFT?
No, dude. When they asked us, do you want points and an NFT, or like, or it came off like, do you want to give away points or like tokens for the NFT? And I'm like, no, I think I'll take it all in tokens. They really didn't phrase it very well, so I declined the NFT. But I wish I, I wish I had just bit the bullet and got the NFT.
Yeah,
That would have been nice.
who could have seen that happen? Like just dropping that airdrop, dropping that NFT project, and then the floor.
I knew it would cook. I knew it would cook.
50 to 70K to $100,000 floor in like the first 3 days. Like that's insane.
I knew it would cook, but I thought at the time you would have to basically seed some of your token allocation from the airdrop in order for an NFT with a, an unknown release date. And the release date part, I was at least right on. It came out like a full almost year later. But damn, I wish I had known I could have gotten both. I definitely would have said yes. But I think
how
there'll be
early
another.
did you have to be to Hyper? Like when was that? Because I started using Hyperliquid in like November of last year. Like how much earlier would have I had to been part of the Genesis?
I think you had to be in the. I think you had to be in like the top 500 for points at the time.
Yeah,
maybe it was like 1,000. I don't quite know the exact number, but you had to be farming it pretty early. And I think if you've been using Hyperliquid since the last airdrop, you're at the very least, I think you're going to get all the fees that you paid back from the exchange through an airdrop, and probably more.
ETH dominance looks like it's getting ready to break higher, guys, which is a very good sign. ETH dominance up top. Looks like some bullish pennant here.
I'm not the biggest ETH Bitcoin bull at the moment, but that could change. That could change.
Let's look at it this way. So this was the point of origin of this sell-off right here. ETH dominance sold off there. Point of origin of that sell-off for dominance. This was the point of origin of the last sell-off. And this was the point of origin of the last ETH sell-off. So when I look at this chart, kind of looks like we could be getting ready to go. Need ETH dominance push a little bit more. But it does look really bullish. Like this is a very, very good looking chart in my view. Tommy, I lost my bet to you, by the way. You were gone. But it's bullshit. You cheated me. You knew it wouldn't happen. You swindled me.
I sold you like 100% out of the money call option.
Yeah, and you collected.
I became everything I've sought to destroy. I was selling volatility.
Yeah, you did collect some premium against me, but that steak is going to be delicious regardless.
Oh, man. I was going through my camera roll, and I was seeing the steakhouse that we usually go to in there, but I also saw the steakhouse that I want to take you guys. It's just, the steak there is so good. So I think once we take a bite of the steak, we're not going to have too big of you're not going to care too much.
I probably won't care too much. But you still swindled me and you manipulated the Ethereum price and stole my money from me. But it's fine. We'll get over it over ribeyes. Now you can remove your giant ask wall and we can go higher, okay? What do you make of this ETH dominance chart, guys? Because it's been giving better signal than ETH BTC this cycle.
Yeah.
Without question. And my evidence for that is how well it called the bottom. How ETH dominance swept the all-time low, and that was the Shmiko.
I was memeing it at the time. It was like, babe, please stop logging. It's not going up. Double bottom.
Yeah, for real. And
And
this
it worked.
one, and ETH BTC did not take out that low, but ETH dominance did. So
Yeah.
I've personally been using ETH dominance as a little bit, I've been weighting it as mattering a little bit more in my head. So when I zoom in and I look at the structures here, we can look at ETH dominance, say, all right, ETH dominance up top, ETH BTC down below. ETH dominance took out this low right here, but ETH BTC did not. I kind of think the bottom on ETH dominance should be in, given how this chart looks. But I think ETH BTC looks like it front ran an important level because this is the same imbalance on these two charts. It's just that the ETH dominance chart retraced into it. And I will reiterate, I think that it matters more because of how it's called significant pivot points. I kind of think that ETH dominance should be breaking higher soon. I could see a little micro dip here, but I don't think it needs to make a new low or something.
I think you're onto something with ETH dominance mattering more than ETH Bitcoin, because ETH Bitcoin is obviously going to measure exactly what it says, ETH against Bitcoin. When I mean, I feel like the summer we kind of saw a bit of a paradigm shift as far as like who is bidding ETH. It obviously picked up a lot more institutional traction. And I don't think we've talked about this before, but Bitcoin and ETH are becoming fundamentally different assets at this point. Who is going to bid them, what they represent. And so ETH dominance, if that is giving us maybe a clearer signal of levels, I think that is a result of ETH probably taking flows from things like Solana or, you know, others, anything really. But again, I think they represent, it's like a subtle difference, but I do think that it probably matters. Maybe we need to come up with a metric that just benchmarks ETH against like a basket of 5 to 10 coins that's not Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that could just be like ETH others, but I think you're onto something is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think ETH dominance, it's, for me, it's traded better, right? It doesn't mean that it always will, but I mean, I think they both matter, to be super clear. I think when they kind of contradict like this and ETH looks like it front ran a critical level, but ETH dominance already took it out. In my head, I would say based on my, past 6 months of watching both, I'm not super concerned about ETH BTC because ETH dominance looks so good. Because it's like when you're only benchmarking ETH against Bitcoin, it's like, yes, Bitcoin's super important. It's arguably the most important, but Bitcoin could be chatting higher here. And what we really care about is ETH outperforming the majority of crypto, not just Bitcoin, right?
But as far as like the performance of, and I agree with you. I just I'm not as bullish necessarily on ETH Bitcoin here as I was a few months ago. And I think that's something that can obviously change very quickly. But I think right here, I'm kind of expecting for the market to go higher, Bitcoin and BNB to continue leading.
I mean, bro, I'm transitioning a bit. Like IWM literally looks like it's about to full send. Like this chart looks incredible, man. That is just, I mean, how about like the perfection of like the levels, amongst all the FUD, like swept the low perfectly over here in summer of 2023. and then came back and tagged that demand from the sweep perfectly, and that was the Schmeeko bottom. It's like just textbook across the board.
With this chart in mind, it's like there is so much time left, in my opinion. Like, there's just data.
Dude,
With
they
the
need to send
IWM.
Pepe, or I think I'm going to go crazy. There's no reason they should be doing this for this long. Crime.
You know what? On second thought, I might have to start fudding Sol ETH again. Japan bond yield skyrocketing. I'm not smart enough to know what that means. But I do see gold ripping higher.
Dude, look at gold.
Just a sign of the market not believing that we have any interest in curbing or stopping inflation, or that it can't, right? I mean, they have to run it hot, because if they don't run it hot, we're in a world of sovereign debt crisis. So you have to run it hot. It only makes sense that gold is pumping.
Yeah. Plus, you have a permabit from central bankers who just keep acquiring gold onto their balance sheet and flipping the ratios.
That is a crazy looking chart, man. Turns out central banks have a lot of money, huh?
Well, in case someone didn't know, they have an unlimited amounts of money.
What? Jackass.
Don't say that. Don't scare the hoes.
Anybody interested in calling triple top on this or no?
But Max, wait. Obviously, we joked, but there is like tons of people who still think that our money is backed by gold. I'm not joking.
I have I informed him. I have a relative.
Yeah.
He's
Me
married
too.
to my cousin. Dude is like a rocket scientist, man. He graduated from like MIT and Harvard Business School and like whatever, everything. The dude literally was like, I don't like Bitcoin. It's not backed by anything. I said, what's the dollar backed by? He said gold. And I said, that's not correct. I'm like, if that dude, who is arguably the most educated man, like he represents the most educated of all of us, traditionally speaking. If he doesn't know that our money is not collateralized by anything besides giant warships and a promise.
Yeah. There's tons of people.
One soul and a dream.
Yeah.
Giant warships and a promise.
It's like there's this saying that historian and IT guy meet up together, and the IT guy is setting up a password, or like he's dealing with the historian for the password, and the historian has a password 1945, and the historian and the IT guy is like, why are you so stupid? You have such a dumb password, just 1945. It's so easy to crack. He's like, do you not know where that number came from? He's like, no. It's like, do you know where the World War II ended? He's like, no. And what I'm trying to say is that both the historian and the IT guy will come out of that meeting thinking of the other guy that they are stupid. But what in reality happened is that one guy is just, educated on history while the other is on IT. And one understands that, having a password with just 1945 is too short, too easy to break. And the other guy just doesn't care much about history, but is educated in other aspects. And so I think that very well points out what you just said, Max, with the MIT guy being very well educated in his expertise, but then still thinking, and it's actually crazy because like money is surrounding literally every one of us, right? Like not everyone probably needs to know when the World War II ended, but everyone is, dealing with money in every day of their lives. But then doesn't know that, dollars aren't backed by gold, or like he thinks that they are. So it's crazy. Food for thought. Yeah, gold was backing the dollar, but you are like, 54 years late. So
Yeah. Jackus, do you think that silver is about to do what gold did?
it's gonna do more than that.
Really?
Silver's gonna outperform gold this cycle. And it's
Okay.
not because it's we are going to be running around paying with silver coins. That is not the reason.
Damn, silver's ripping.
So this is the silver gold pair. I wonder if it breaks out of the structure finally. Like trading so so cleanly.
It is.
I wonder if this thing just like, just goes like crazy against gold.
Like not, yeah. Well, guess we are going to find out soon.
Is there like a 3 times levered silver ETF?
Of course, I'm sure there
Most
is.
likely.
What is the ticker?
SLV3.
I did not know that was a thing. I would have bought that instead of the miners.
You can find a 3x levered ETF for just about anything, I feel like, these days. You can get 3x MSTR long and short ETFs. It's funny, there are more ETFs now than there are actual individual stocks. I think that that happened like 2 weeks ago.
That makes sense.
I mean, I wonder if it's this simple.
Trying to think of what that reminds me of. Hold on, let me concoct a fractal for this.
All right, Tommy, I think that's the end of the show, brother. Care to take us out?
Yes, I am most certainly going to be rusty on the outro, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the show today. We are about a week into Q4 now, and there has already been a lot of things going on, right? Whether that is the BNB trenches, whether that's just general crypto market volatility. A lot of stuff happening in equities, small caps. I mean, you had AMD absolutely gig ascending today. You've got precious metals breaking out. Whole lot of things to continue to discuss on Market Check here over the next few weeks and throughout the rest of the quarter. So if you enjoyed Market Check today, we'll be back for another episode on Wednesday. And a reminder that we are live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at the same time as always. That is around 11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when you can expect us to or around the time you can expect us to begin the show. Of course, we also have Market Talk hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is an X Spaces hosted throughout the week by Wabi's account, as well as the Because Bitcoin X account. So make sure to stay following and subscribe to both so you can be notified, not just when we schedule those spaces ahead of time, but of course, also when we go live. Of course, over the last few months, we have launched some great new products as well for you guys if you're looking for tools to help you conquer the trade. Right, we have, for one, launched the Volume Fusion Pro Discord. I think that was about 4 to 6 weeks ago, including for strategies on coins like Pepe, Doge, and Solana. So if you're looking for a tool that can potentially give you an edge on trading this upcoming market volatility, we've got the ability for you to do that. Just sign in or just create a Blowfin account using our referral link, and you'll be given access to some of these alerts, and more coming down the pipe as well. But as I say every day, we don't want to inform you guys too much about what we're working on, but rest assured, there's always something going on at the background or in the background at BB. Lastly, we displayed it on the show for you guys today. BB Terminal, if you're looking for something that can give you an edge on chain, which we're already seeing those markets really heat up. Maybe not on Solana right now, but certainly on BSC. We highlighted the volume. We talked about some BNB coins. And I have to imagine that theme is going to continue, right? So if you're looking for something to help you if you're looking for something to help you identify some of these coins, sort by volume to maybe find the next runner, or many other tools that you would usually use Dex Screener for, but we've got an upgraded version of it. If you haven't checked out the BB Terminal, absolutely use it. Our dev Ed has been absolutely kicking ass in the background, and BB Terminal looks better every week. So check that out, guys. But that's it from us. We hope you enjoyed the show today. I almost kind of forgot how I usually end the show, but regardless, we'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and stay safe as always. Thanks again.
Peace.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal.